Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Final Tackle podcast. And we are joined by Geelong and Collingwood legend. He actually just recently retired this year, Travis Varcoe. And we're also joined by Geelong superfan. He's also part of the podcast crew. His first episode with us, Luke Chalmers. Thanks very much for joining us here today, lads.
No worries, mate.
No worries. Cheers. Thanks.
Yeah, not too easy. So, let's get started. Your career spanned 14 years, which is insane. So many people these days don't really get the chance to even play 4 years, let alone 14. What was it like playing at such an elite level for so long?
Yeah, it was. It's pretty surreal. Like I think when you're actually out there training, playing, doing everything to further yourself, you sort of always worried about the next challenge, the next goal. And you don't actually realise how much time has actually flown by, and it was actually 15 years, which was
sorry.
crazy. So no, all good. You've robbed me of a year, so maybe I can get that back on a contract somewhere. But it's actually, like I said, it's the footy these days is always the next challenge, the next goal, the next preseason, the next game. Like you almost, if you bask in it too long, the competition flies by it pretty quick, and it wasn't until I got home to Victoria and my family, saying congrats and an amazing career. And my kids gave me a gift for a retirement gift. And I sort of went, what, 15 years is massive. Like that's in any caper, in any career that you're in, 15 years in that in the job is an amazing achievement. So
long service leave.
Well, that doesn't kick in, but it's actually, it was actually quite nice to just actually sit down and take a breath and actually enjoy what I've actually done.
Yeah, for sure. Luke, mate, is there a question or two that you have for Trav?
No, just one of them, mate. I just want to know the transition between Geelong and Collingwood, because we both know that you obviously went to Collingwood, which, was terrible. But, just like maybe the atmosphere between the two clubs and, stuff like that.
So it's actually, there were two stark differences. I walked in as, I guess, obviously a 17-year-old at Geelong. They had a pretty well-established side, although, didn't get the results. I think in 2004 they they made the finals. 2005 they got out. They bumbled out in the prelim. Thanks to Nick Davis. And in 2006 we missed the final series altogether. But I think Bomber at that time had put the main bones together for that group, and thankfully he stayed on. Obviously after that 2006 review, the club backed him in, the players, we all love, we love him, and it was great to just get that extra year, and I guess the rest is history. So that was me as a young kid coming in, older group around that are already established, showed you the way to play. This is the right way to play. This is how we want you to play. You do these, A, B, and C right. The rest will take care of itself. And then obviously transferring over to Collingwood, I've sort of built a pretty good foundation through the Collingwood boys and through the Geelong boys, and just carried that through with me. And Collingwood at that time was, I thought they were pretty exciting, up and coming list, and I thought I could add something from a different perspective, from a successful organisation. Not saying that Collingwood isn't, but just a different culture. So I actually took a bit more of a leadership mentoring role, as opposed to being, just being directed. Because at Geelong we had any one of 15 players that could have been taking the reins for the day, and it wouldn't have felt out of place. Collingwood at the time was rebuilding and starting to get that team together. And
I noticed that there was a few years at Collingwood that obviously as a Collingwood fan, they they didn't necessarily make the finals because they were rebuilding, blooding new players, and then obviously, boom, they make the grand final in 2018, almost out of nowhere. Was that because of the rebuilding and blooding phase of those few years leading up to it?
Yeah, I think absolutely, and I think the key part, and it was quite frustrating as a player that we just didn't get the continuity of the boys together. We had a lot of injuries.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can't blame injuries because
you should have a player ready to take over the reins.
Yeah, and you got to find out at some point can the younger boys come through and do it. But it just seemed like we always had 7, 8 people out. Like that would be starting. But yeah, again, if you don't have the injuries or the openings, you can't play the younger ones or blood the younger ones. So it was a bit of a twofold, but it was too much change throughout those years. It just made it a little bit hard to get that continuity together, just a bit of chemistry, because that goes a long way. I'm spewing that, I've had, my last couple of years, I was being able to run out with Jamie Elliott, and that was one person that I would have loved to have had a bit more time with, just to build that chemistry. And but that's it's all history now. But the boys, I think, have got the club have got the right people involved with the sports science, the coaches, all the skill acquisition stuff like that. That's all sort of almost set in stone there now. So which is good. So they're starting to get a nice, good foundation happening. Be interesting to see what happens with them in the trade, but that's I guess that's another story, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of your retirement, obviously it's very recent, very fresh, as we just pointed out. First of all, how are you handling the transition into retirement? And also, what are your plans for the next year, if you've got any sort of thing?
Yeah, so I actually enjoy youth justice system. I was doing a bit of volunteer work at Parkville Youth Justice Centre, and just working in the Koori programs, but a bit of crossover with everyone really. But it was actually nice to just get a good feel for it. I really, like I said, I really enjoyed it, and I think for the Indigenous people, it's a nice to have I guess someone that's gone. Obviously I've been in the public and I've done and achieved a lot of things, and
they can maybe take from your successes, sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And not every story is the same, and everyone's got different upbringings, and it's just I guess a different view, and you want them to just feel like they're valued, and I really enjoyed that, and that's something that I'll pursue. And then just a bit of work at my daughter's school through the cultural inclusion stuff. I think I'll have a little bit of input there, and I enjoy that. As for the transition stage, it's a little bit it's exciting, but it's scary at the same time. We've been structured for 15 years.
Yeah,
it is actually quite an adjustment, but I've got strong people around me. My partner's great. Your management group, people, the connections that you make within Collingwood, Geelong organisation is, if I fell through the cracks and didn't do anything, I would be, that would be disappointing for me. Just to say that. So yeah.
No, that's fair. And obviously from a Geelong fan point, old mate Luke would absolutely love this next part. The 2009 and 2011 grand finals. One was actually coincidentally against Collingwood in 2011.
Yes.
Which one do you hold in higher regard to personally? And what was it like winning a grand final?
Geez, that's tough to. They were special in just different ways. I guess 2009 for me was obviously first one, winning. We had two of the best. Us and St Kilda were the best sides of the competition at that point. So it was actually really nice to fight it out on the last day. We just happening. Like I really love grand finals that go down to the wire.
Oh, like
Because,
don't get me started at 2018. Oof.
Yes, absolutely. So you always want to see the best of the best go at it, and not be a one-sided.
Yeah, literally only see
affair.
10 points in it.
Yeah, selfishly as a player, you want to 100% win by 10 goals.
Yeah,
you want it to be over by half time, but
yeah.
As a footy lover and a sports lover, I think any championships, grand finals, you want them to go down to the wire.
Yeah.
Not that a play loses you the game, but I love the fact that a play can win you the game.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
again, the 2018 grand final, that'll hold me for real.
Yeah, so I will loop back around to that on that point. But
okay.
I think 2009 was very, very new to me. I think I don't know, I might have been 20, I think. I'm not sure what my age was then. I was pretty young. Two best sides going at it. Contested ball. It was hard. It was, like I said, we come up with the play to win it. We forget that, rookie kicked the goal after the siren. Essentially we only win by 6 points, but he kicks the goal after siren, which, makes it 12, which is great. But, that was very special because it's the first one that I won. But 2011 was, apparently we're too old and too slow. It's turned out to be too good in the end. And we just I was pretty confident going in that we had the right team orientated play at the right time of the year. And it just felt right. I think the score doesn't reflect the actual how good the game was. We actually piled on. I think it was like 4 or 5 goals in the last quarter. No, probably last 15 minutes. So 10, 15 minutes. So the score didn't actually reflect how close that game was as well. So, but I think they're two different feelings. One's first time excitement. It's uncharted territory, and then 2011's too old, too slow. You got it written off, we come out and I guess stick it up everyone, and So then obviously going back to a play that wins it, like we got it. Like I know it hurts to I was on the bad end of it for against West Coast, but Dom Sheed, we forget Dom Sheed's
efforts.
Like his actual journey getting from the start of the year to the end of the year, he wasn't even in their best 22. Without Gaff getting suspended, probably doesn't get the chance. So like a guy that's had so many knockbacks and then persevered, and he's the match winner.
Yeah,
it was a match winning play.
Yeah,
like as a footy lover, like that's amazing. That makes me like smile, and I know a lot of people probably go, "Oh, you're a clown, like you just lost a granny," but I do enjoy people.
You'd rather lose it that way than a blowout sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So and that's and you got to take into account too how many people were there. He's on the boundaries, getting yelled at.
Exactly.
And to clench it, to hit a kick that's
clutch,
you probably have that kick 100 times and he probably misses them all. But he does it on the big stage, and it's unbelievable. So I think the story within itself, from a personal and I guess that team aspect, is one that would sit up there for West Coast fans, I would have thought.
Oh, for sure. Luke, passing it off to you to ask a few questions for Trav.
Just going back to the 2011 grand final, which was rather disappointing. I wanted to know whether there was any like sort of animosity or anything like that coming up against your former club.
In which one? In what?
No. In 2011, he was playing for Geelong.
Oh no, yeah, sorry, my bad. The Collingwood grand final. That's my bad. I forgot.
All good.
Mixed up.
I'll tell you what. When I did transfer over to Collingwood, I felt kind of like I started way back because they probably hated me for the 2011 grand final.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the
I had a lot.
Sorry, mate.
No, that's
I had a
all
lot
good.
of people go, yeah, we didn't like you when you played there. I went up to try and bring one back in to even it out. So
I was gonna say when I posted the hey guys, we've got Trav coming on to Collingwood groups, everyone had nothing but good things to say about you in the comments. They were like, should make a documentary about his life, best player, my favorite player. Mate, you're well loved at the Collingwood fan group.
All good. No, it's been there. And I'm very, very thankful, and that's one of the reasons I ended up at Collingwood was I love the roar and I love the playing in front of big crowds, and they don't get any bigger than that. That's for sure.
No, they don't, especially Anzac Day. And speaking of big games, other than grand finals, what would be the standout biggest game, whether that's an AFL Anzac Day game or an Indigenous All-Stars game sort of thing that you remember the most fondly?
I think you can't go past your first game. I think I hold that probably just as much up in the league of playing in grand finals. Grand finals you might get to play twice. You might but first games you can never do that again. So that's why I love it. It's special. It's all the hard work that you put in up to that date. Although you got a lot more ahead of you to improve and stay at that elite level, there's a lot more work in front of you. But it's nice to know that you're considered good enough to take the field and mix it with the best. So that I think I can't really go past the first game.
Yeah, for sure. Luke, mate, do you have any other questions for Trav?
I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Sorry, man, you put me on the spot.
No, it's all good.
What's it kind of like as being an Indigenous man, inspiring young Indigenous kids to, take the field and strap on a pair of boots instead of other stuff, as you said, with the juvenile justice sort of thing, instead of going down that path? I guess what I'm trying to get at is, what's the feeling like for you as a person, guiding them through that?
Yeah, it's a pretty special feeling. It's one that I probably didn't really get the scope of it. Like, people see you on TV, they feel like they know you, they watch you, they study you, and they observe a lot. But I'm on the other end of it, so I don't get to see what effects that have on people until I actually meet them. And that for me is amazing. To have that sort of influence on Indigenous communities and bring so much joy and hope, and if you inspire just one kid to just have a crack, and that's all my message would be, is just to have a crack at something. Don't sort of die wondering, I should have done this, I could have done that. If you come up short, that's okay. You just done the best. You've done the best to your ability at that point in time. Next time, it shouldn't shut you down from trying again if you're up for it. And you do. Sometimes the best learnings come from
Mistakes.
Mistakes and not quite reaching the potential that you would have hoped for or dreamt of. So it's just what you do when those chips are down. And I think, for me, I can't really sell that message if I don't live it. So I think I just try to think of that, and whenever I'm having a bad day or things aren't going right, there are people that would trade places with you in a heartbeat. So it is a privilege to be playing AFL. It's a privilege to be doing that job. So it was never, a God-given right, and it could be taken away at any point in time. I'm one injury away. I'm one, obviously one more year older. COVID. But this is the thing. COVID's kicked in now, so the markets just become so cutthroat that they can and that's just a I guess a result of the circumstances, and sometimes you can't control that, but what I can control is how you react to those things. So again, if I can't live those, how can I preach those? So so it's actually I've probably gone into a little bit of depth there, and
no, it's good. No, it's good.
Yeah, heartfelt, but that's just how I see it, and I'm not one to rant and rave. It's more about actions and the way that you lead. That's
lead by example sort of thing.
Yeah. So and that's what I've learned in footy is that people have different leadership qualities. We all got leadership qualities. It's whether we value those or how we see those or perceive those. So someone like Joel Selwood's got both of those. Leads by example. When he talks, you listen, and he gives you the guideline and the parameters to work within, and that's the way you go.
Yeah.
But I'm more of a bit more of a quieter. Okay, I'll do what the team needs or whatever you want me to do at that point in time, but I'll do it and lead by example.
Yeah, you'll say, look, follow me, sort of thing.
Yeah. So I think everyone's got different qualities.
No, that's awesome.
One other question, mate. Just who was, I know it's going to be a tough one. Who was your favourite player to play alongside in either Geelong, Collingwood?
I was going to ask that. That's a great question.
Yeah. So, hands down, Paul Chapman is the most exciting player that I always used to love running out before I ran out for the race. Always just say, I love playing alongside you. Give him a hug and, out we'd go. And just the way that he played the game, he was fiery, he was on the edge, match winner. He's selfless, everything that you could possibly think of. And I was just so lucky to learn so much in the playing arena and playing alongside him. Like it was I got front row seats to to the show really. And so he's probably hands down the best. Not probably, he is the hands down best. The closest I've come to that, the next in line would be Jordan De Goey. And
oh mate, love De Goey.
And he's a smidge. He's a smidge under. But both just love the game. But footy's not everything. And that's the other part that I love about those two, that they can switch off and be Paul or be Jordan. Like that's sincerely, like it might be, people might not understand what that means, but when you're in a high pressured environment for everything gets scrutinized, when you see it firsthand how they can switch off, it's very it's a
like
unique,
they can be
talent.
Collingwood Jordan or Jordan,
Yes, and that's very it's very special to have, and it's a gift to have in this day and age of footy. So they're the two that I loved the most. So
no.
And hopefully none of the rest of the teammates are listening, because I love you all too. So.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Obviously everyone has their favorite teammate that they love hanging out with. And speaking of the COVID 2020, what was life like in the bubble this year?
Yeah, very, very challenging. But at the end of the day, we still got to carry out our job. We still got to do something that we loved. We actually gave people something to look forward to when there was nothing on, which is something special that that we could provide. If it's 2 hours out of their weekend, or even if they're an actual just want to watch sport, just to be able to give them a chop out from what's actually happening in
the world,
in their lives with the COVID. Some people got no jobs at all, so it was actually challenging, but it was quite rewarding in that sense, is that we got to give people a different outlet. Having lived in that hub.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah. The 15-minute quarters. What was it like adjusting to that?
Yeah, well, I think early on it was a little bit hit and miss. You got to try a few things, but once they started clumping those games together, yeah, you definitely needed those 15-minute quarters. It was, or 16 plus time on, which is, you got to give up something to gain something. And,
Yeah, for sure.
That's and yeah. Personally, I was probably a little bit worried that with the shorter quarters and the games clumped together, someone that's susceptible to injuries, such as myself, I was a little bit hesitant to be putting myself in that sort of red zone, but we worked through it. It worked out that I end up having every second game off anyway. So it didn't. That was something that you sort of work through as an individual. Living in a hub was quite difficult. I'm one that likes to get away from footy once I walk out the door. Yeah. Once footy training or leave the club, it's switched off. There's no.
Once the game's over, you just it's over.
Yeah, I don't sort of think about it too much. But in a hub, you go to breakfast, you see someone, or you see everyone. You go to lunch, you see everyone. There's so much access that a club can have to you in a hub. It's, boys, let's get up. We're going to go down for a recovery session, which you might not normally would do in a normal situation. So that was a little bit of readjusting, but I was fortunate to have my family there with me, to have your safety net. That's your safety net.
Yeah, sure.
And I could speak for the majority of the boys. Your safety net is your loved ones. So the ones that didn't have it really struggled because if you're not playing, you're not, you're in and out. You might be injured. Like you just got no safety net. As much as the boys and the club support you and get around you. Your loved ones are the ones that see everything, and a lot they brunt a lot of it, which is forgotten about.
They're the ones that put up with everything, sort of.
They have to. They put on so many hats. They got to put on their partner's hat. They've got to put on their counsellor's hat. So it's just actually like they know if you got kids, they're like, now I've got to be a mum. Now I've got to now I've got to go work. Like so, it's actually it was. They wear so many different hats, and it's when you come home and bring those crappy little things home from your work, they probably don't mean much in the end, but you could have a bee in your bonnet about some stage. So they put up with a lot.
Well, shout out to all the wags of the AFL. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
and all the kids as well of all the players. Just switching to some fun, less in-depth sort of questions. If you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
Jeez. Jeez. I don't know. Maybe fly.
Yeah.
I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to fly. But having said that, though, I'm actually quite scared of heights, so I don't know how they'll go.
Maybe just out of convenience, to go to places.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah, maybe we all want what we can't have. So
yeah, that's fair. Yeah. What's your current beer of choice?
Movie of choice?
No, beer of choice. Sorry.
Oh, beer of choice. Sahi.
Dark or just regular?
Just regular, yeah.
No, that's fair. Speaking of movies, though, if you could have a movie about your life, what actor would you want to play you?
Geez. Oh. Yeah, I love Will Smith. I can't go past Will Smith.
Yeah, fair. Honestly, I only thought of that question last night because, again, I was looking in the comments of, the fans talking about you in the post I made. And one of them goes, I really hope they make a documentary about him and his life and his journey. And that got me thinking, I should ask him if he could have anyone play him, who would it be? How do you like your steak cooked?
Medium rare.
Yes. And last fun question, then I'll take it out to Luke to finish off the interview. What movie or series did you binge watch on Netflix during the COVID break?
Oh, geez. I watched a couple actually, but while I was in the hub, Jack Crisp, Will Hoskin Elliott, and Brody Mychek, we used to get in the room and we watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh,
That's an absolute classic. But yeah, that was our sort of downtime. That just to have the laugh and obviously I've watched majority of them, but like it was just nice just to go, like, we started from a season 1 and
like a bonding
so
sort
we
of
went
thing,
through
you
the
could say.
whole just funny. And then you go to training and you're ripping out all these one-liners at training and just those little in-house sort of jokes that you have between each other. And so we generally maybe it was pretty much almost every night.
No, that's awesome. And passing it off to Luke to finish off, maybe with some advice or something like that. Go for it, Luke.
I just want to know what advice you do have for young kids that are trying to make the big leagues.
I think the one thing is just to have fun, and not put too much pressure on yourselves. Like, the reason you play footy is because you enjoy it and you love it. The moment it becomes a business or
work,
it actually loses its essence. So I think one thing is to always remember why you started in the first place. And the reason I started was all my mates were talking about it, and I wanted to be in that conversation, and I wanted to have fun. I wanted to go to school on Monday morning. Hey, what about this and what about that? And how good did you play on the weekend? Like, you just want to be a part of a group of and any sport really. Like, you just want to be a part of a group that you can share that with, and the feeling and the love and the joy that you get out of it. You should never ever lose that.
For sure. Speaking of you as a kid, what club did you grow up supporting?
Supporting, so I was a Sydney supporter growing up. So Mickey O and Adam Goods. So they're Mickey O's great grandmother, my grandmother, and Goods' grandmother are sisters. So naturally, when you got family playing for a club, you obviously follow them. And they are legends of the AFL, Sydney, and more importantly, they're unbelievable role models and great people. That makes it even better to support